Okay, everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, since as usual, Hennessy took 6 minutes of my time, I will probably get us back on schedule because some of you might not have seen some of this information. Some of you have seen some of it, and some of you have seen all of it. But this is um, in part the information we used as baseline when this grant was originally written. And then little did we know that COVID was going to come along and make things even more aggravated. So just I'll present information from two surveys. One is the Evalumetrics Youth Survey. Now, everything I'm presenting now was from 2019. uh, I am now buried spending my days and nights and weekends on the new survey that we just completed. We have about 6,000 surveys from the region, including about 3,600 from Wayne County, all the Wayne County schools, Allegheny, Yates County. So this is going to be a much bigger regional survey for the mental health stuff, along with all the other stuff that's in the survey. But anyway, for those who don't know, every odd numbered year, really since 2013, we have surveyed all of the 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th grade students in all of the schools in the county. And I grabbed a few of the mental health related findings from that survey just to give you an idea. One of the things we do measure is adverse childhood experiences. And we have a list of those, and we simply ask the kids how many of those they have had happen to them in their lifetime. And then I picked a few of the other that are some items from the CDC's Youth Risk Behavior Survey, and that will just give you a feel for it. But generally, countywide, around a third of the kids reported 2 or more adverse childhood experiences. Um, Around a little over a quarter of them said that their life does not have a clear direction or purpose. Almost half felt sad or depressed most days. Over 1 out of 5 with suicide ideation. We asked them, did you make a plan for suicide? Cutting and burning, 1 out of 5, but it's like double that for the girls and half that for the boys. And then luckily fewer said that they had bullied another student. One of the things we do is we cross-tabulate the different outcomes, in this case, the behavioral ones, with the various risk and protective factors that are in the survey, and to see what potential root causes might be. Overwhelmingly for these things, it's the ACE score. So my picture, wait a minute, I got to move this a little. It's cut off a little with all of your nice faces. There we go. The way you read that is if you go to the last column, kids who reported 2 or more adverse childhood experiences were 2.6 times more likely to also say that they were sad and depressed most days. Most of the predictors of the depression were family factors. That's what the F in the bracket stands for. So family conflict would be kids who scored at the statistically high level on that scale, twice as likely to be depressed. Those who said that they lacked rewards for pro-social involvement in their family, lacked opportunities, were not attached, and that brings us back to Arch. I'll do more about Arch later. Also, all far more likely to report being sad or depressed most days. In terms of suicide ideation, almost 6 times more likely to have made a plan for suicide if they had an ACE score of 2 or more. Almost 4 times more likely with family conflict, family history of antisocial behavior. Again, all family factors as the most powerful predictors of the kids who reported that they had made a plan. This is more than just thought about. This is actually making a plan. So then in June, little did we know after we had that baseline data that the world was going to basically shut down. So we scrambled and put together the Youth Voice Survey, and we offered it to schools throughout the Finger Lakes region and got a fairly good sample. Again, it's a convenient sample. The schools were completely closed at this point. This was in May and June of last year. And the districts sent the survey link out to all of their students via their student email and asked them if they would like to participate. I think we gave the parents a heads up first so that they could opt out if they wanted to. And we got a fair sample. You're looking there at well over 1,000. Let me see, I had the full count for Wayne County, or nearly 1,000 Wayne County. And the younger kids, 4th and 5th graders, And I think a couple of these numbers, I think it was Jay that probably stole my thunder and put a couple of them up there, but nearly 2 out of 3 said that on at least several days or more, they were worried about their family members getting sick. More than half said that they were nervous, anxious, or on edge. And a quarter of those, that was almost every day, more than half the time. And then 40% said they felt lonely, and over 40% said they were not able to stop or control their worrying. Now, these are the youngest kids in the survey. In middle school, not all that different, but the numbers go up, which is interesting. They went up with age. So almost 60% said they felt nervous or anxious or on edge. And a third said that that was more than half the time. More than half said they were worrying about their family getting sick. They were about, by the way, overall, twice as likely to say they were worried about their family getting sick than about them getting sick, which was another question. 46% said they felt lonely. 44% almost said they couldn't stop or control their worrying. In high school, again, all those numbers are pretty similar, but the proportions go up. So 2 out of 3 said they felt nervous, anxious, or on edge. And 34% of that was more than half the time. More than half said they were lonely. Now, at this point, we did ask them if they'd been out of the house. Most of them had really not. Some had gone to see friends despite the COVID shutdown at this point, but for the most part, they were pretty isolated. And again, almost half said they could not stop or control their worrying. We also did a parent survey. Now, the surveys were anonymous, so we couldn't match a parent to a child, but we compared the same grade level in the same schools, and we had about 2,000 parents, actually, and this was only Wayne County did the parent survey, which I thought was amazing that we got that big of a sample. But the bottom line was they dramatically, significantly underestimated the social emotional distress on their kids. They were basically asked the same questions we asked the kids, except we said, do you think your child? And they were like half of the percentages. So you have to wonder whether they were really going to be getting any helpful support at home. Going back to Arch, one thing we did look at, though, was we had just, interestingly enough, Jay had a little book club where we had gone through and analyzed a book about Katrina and the trauma that kids felt after Katrina. And one of the things they found was that certain things did mitigate the social emotional impact, and that included attachment. And son of a gun, we did include our attachment scale from the EYS in the Youth Voice survey. And the kids who were high on attachment to their family were 3.6 times less likely to score high on the social emotional scale. So, and then looking at self-regulation, students who reported high levels of self-regulation were more than 2 times less likely to show high levels of social emotional distress. And high school students with high levels of attachment, the first one was middle school, again, 3.5 times less likely to have high levels of this. And we use this a lot over the summer to try to figure out, are there ways we could increase attachment as a way of, mitigating the impact of the COVID situation. And again, the same thing. We also had a self-efficacy scale. We monitor that in everything we do. And again, they were significantly less likely to have high levels if they had a high level of self-efficacy. Now, that's the quick one. We will be looking at this again, because now instead of that smaller sample, we actually have really all these same pieces of data on all of the kids for February and March when they took the survey. In our most recent survey, we did ask them how they had gone to school in the fall, whether it was full-time in person, virtual, or hybrid, and then how they had been going to school in the 2 weeks prior to the survey. So we'll be able to take a look at the impact of that. The one thing I forgot to make a slide for that's probably relevant to this group and something that Hennessy and I are monitoring is we do ask the kids, and we've been asking them this for years, if you had a personal problem, where would you go? The youngest kids said that they would go to a counselor at school, about 60% of them. By the time they're seniors, only about a third say that. And probably the finding that is the most upsetting is all across the grades, about 1 out of 4 kids said they would go to nobody. They wouldn't go to anybody for help. So it's going to be interesting to see now with the new survey in the schools that have this program, are the kids more likely to go to a counselor at school and hopefully less likely to go to no one. So we'll be monitoring that. So August 5th is going to be probably a long day. There's a ton of stuff to look at in here. And if you'd like most of the stuff I present has been written up in various research reports. I think some of them are accessible through the website, or you can email me and I'll send you whatever you need. So any questions? I could hear my clock chiming downstairs. I got us right back on schedule, Hennessy.
Good job, Rob.
Yeah.
Rob and I present together a lot, and we're noticing that I go over and he makes it better at the end. So lots and lots of data. So definitely come August 5th and Rob will go through all of that data with you.